So Lucy Love, you're going to unmute yourself, give us gratitude, and then go ahead and ask your question.
Hi everyone, I'm grateful for my lovely to-do list today. I'm just
Mm,
having so much fun ticking
love
things
it.
off.
Love it.
My question is, I stepped away from my business in August. I felt burnt out. I was posting every day. I was not really enjoying it. So I want to come back. I would like what's the most important three things that I could do to start again?
This is a great question. I'm going to ask you a clarifying question. So the best three things to do to start is sort of one question. What is the end result of starting? So is the question the best three things to do to start so that I can grow my following, so that I can make more sales, so that I can book big speaking events, so that I could look like an authority and write a book? Do you know what I'm saying? So what's the end of that sentence or question?
Yeah, I would like to make sales.
Make sales? Okay. This is an awesome question. So the first three things that I should really focus on to start to make sales, I'm going to flip the script and I'm going to say three might be too many. I'll give you three because that's what you're asking for, but three might be too many. And I'd say focusing on one is going to be the most powerful thing. There's the side of the coin that says do the thing that's easiest and has the least resistance because it's natural. And then the other side of that same coin is like, we don't want you to stay comfortable. I want you to stretch yourself. So I think that you have to find somewhere in the middle because here's the thing. If you're using social media for organic marketing, which is mostly what we do, that's how I built my business. It's organic marketing through social media, whatever platform you're on. You have to show up, right? Like you need to have a presence. You want to have that consistency. You want to still to start to build a brand, a reputation. You want to have awareness and visibility. So a very simple thing, a very simple answer would be you have to show up. You have to post. But if that's something where and I say you collectively, I'm speaking to everybody here. If you have done zero, you're doing zero posts and you have like all this resistance and you have social, you have anxiety about showing up and fear and all of these things, me telling you, well, just go post 7 days a week or 5 days a week, that might be so unrealistic that that feels like a burden and you're just going to keep hitting this resistance where it's just not going to get done. You're going to be hard on yourself, judging yourself, beating yourself up for not doing the thing that you want to do. It also might take you, and again, I'm speaking collectively, not to Lucy. It might take you, 4 hours. We chuckle, but it really does take people that long. Sometimes it might take you 4 hours to create a reel. And that is not really, it only moves the needle so much if it's taking that much out of you. So this is where it's blurry, where I'm like, I want you to get uncomfortable and stretch yourself, but also what is the path of least resistance? Like what's the easiest thing for you to do? I think the most important things, especially in 2025, when it comes to making money, it's going to be building some sort of a brand recognition, and that comes through making content. Whether you're making content on YouTube, Pinterest, TikTok, or if that's still around, Instagram, I don't really care where. Content is also podcast episodes. Content is writing emails to your list and building a list. Content is being a guest on other people's podcast episodes or guest coaching programs. So blogging, there's lots of ways that we could be creating content. It doesn't just have to be an Instagram post, but content is king, content is queen. That's just the way that it goes, right? You look at the biggest businesses in the world, the largest companies in the world, and they're creating content. It's no different than commercials on TV. Pepsi, Coca-Cola, Budweiser. I mean, it's been around for years, right? They create commercials because that's marketing. So you have to have visibility. You have to have visibility. So content is going to be huge. Now, before you can create content, you need to know, Lucy, what is it that you want to talk about? Who is it that you want to serve? What is the problem that you're solving? How do you want to be known in your industry? What's like the line in the sand? What do you stand for? What do you not stand for? So these are like nuanced things that you're going to want to figure out. But showing up and creating content, absolutely. I'd say probably the most important thing if you want to make sales. There's different types of content that you can create, which we can get into. There's, activation content, polarizing content, myth busting content, educational, how-to content. There's so many different types of content, but content's going to be huge. And you're going to laugh. Selling. We cannot make sales if we don't sell. It's simple. We cannot make sales if we don't sell. So I could say that selling is even more important than content, but the content is what's going to build that like, trust, that authority, that credibility. I was introduced to an idea a couple months ago by this woman. She's incredible. And she was saying, people don't actually have to like you to buy from you. And I was like, wait a minute, because we've all learned no like trust, no like trust. right? Build that KLT, know, like, trust. And when she said it, I was like, oh, that's so funny. You don't have to like the person or the company to buy the product if it's going to solve the problem that you have. So I care less about you trying to get your audience to like you. They just need to respect you. They need to respect what it is that you're sharing, how you show up, that authority, the credibility. So I think selling is obviously really important. Content is going to be really important because it's going to help foster that relationship, that deepening. And then the selling, keep in mind, you can sell things for free. I just told you all about a workshop we're doing next week that's free. I sold you on the workshop. Even though you don't have to pay for it, it's still the flex of selling. It's promotion, it's marketing. So certainly if you want to increase your sales, you got to sell more. And I think there's a lot of mindset work we all get to do around selling. Selling is not sleazy. It does not have to be sleazy. It does not have to be pushy. And we should not feel bad about selling when we're running a business. The purpose of our business is, one, to solve problems for people, right? It's to offer solutions. But on the other end, the purpose of a business is to make money. It is to make money, and we don't have to feel bad about it, especially if you're an entrepreneur. If you're part-time and you want to go full-time, or you're full-time, this is your job. I didn't feel bad about getting a paycheck when I was a school teacher. I felt I deserved it. I felt I actually deserved more than what I got. Conversation for a different day, right? But that's the point. You have a job. They pay you for your time. They pay you for your services, and you go pay your bills. Well, guess what? Now I act as the school, the district, right? Now I act as the state. Now I act as my boss. Now I act as the company who was going to pay me for a job. So I should not feel bad about making money in my business because I have bills to pay. So instead of going and getting a 9-to-5 job and having a boss, I am the boss. This is my 9-to-5 job. But the beautiful thing is I don't have to do it 9-to-5. I could do it Saturday. I could do it Thursday. It doesn't matter. That's the beautiful thing about me being my own boss. Selling is not sleazy. If you've been around my world, you've heard me say it a million times before. If you have a solution to a problem, it is your responsibility to share it with others. And if you are not sharing it, you are robbing other people of the opportunity for transformation. Ooh, you know how to fix a flat tire and you pass someone on the road with a flat tire and you keep driving, you're a jerk. That's not nice. You took that opportunity away from them, that chance to help them. If you have a solution to a problem, it's your responsibility to share it with people. So if you're a coach, who here's a coach, who here's a service provider, say me in the chat box if you are. I think 100% of you are service providers, coaches, healers, teachers. Yeah, it's our job to be sharing. Where do we share content? Guess what? It's free. How cool is that? Who here has ever said, oh, I have to post today? What a weird mindset to have. I've been there. I've said that so many times. 12 years I've been posting content online. I don't have to post today. I get to post today. 20 years ago, 40 years ago, 100 years ago, what we had to do to market our business, hanging up flyers in coffee shops, knocking on doors, paying millions of dollars for a commercial on TV, thousands of dollars for a little thing in a newspaper. I'm from New Jersey, so we have diners in New Jersey, and the diners have paper placemats. And what do they put on paper placemats? People put their businesses on the paper placemats, local businesses, and they pay a lot of money year after year to have their business on a paper placemat that somebody puts their coffee on and spills their water on, eats their food on. Now we have social media. With the push of a finger, you can get out to the masses, people across the globe. We get to post. We get to tell people about our solutions. So content, selling.
Could I ask?
Yeah, and I'm going to give you one third thing, and I'll be super fast.
All right.
Taking care of yourself. Taking care of yourself. You got to get into state. You got to keep your energy right. You got to keep your health right. Your energy and health are your biggest assets as a business owner, as a human. If you're not healthy, mind and body, you're not going to be able to show up. You're going to feel burnt out. And you started this question with, I was burnt out. So put those in whatever order you want. For me, health and energy is the first thing. Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead, Lucy.
Yeah, it's just about content because what burnt me out, I feel like I was creating content from what you said. I've got to do this today, and
Mhm.
also I didn't really feel like I was being myself.
Mm.
I was like, someone's telling me, "Oh, this is what you do. This is how you say it," and then
Yeah.
that felt like I'm trying to put myself into a box.
Yeah.
So, like, how do you be more? How do
Yeah.
you
How do you be more
touch
authentic? How do you be more yourself?
yourself?
Such a good question. Two sides to this answer. The first part, I was going to say, if you're out of your authentic self, it will feel like burnout. So the interesting thing with burnout, and I've experienced it like on a medical grade level, I've had burnout, I had a breast cancer scare, I've had adrenal fatigue. But the interesting thing with how we feel burned out around our businesses and content, what I've experienced and what I've seen is sometimes, often, we feel burnout because we're out of alignment. And that's exactly what you're saying. We're trying to fit into somebody else's framework. We're trying to do what we're supposed to do. One of the things that I say all the time is, I swear, the more I learn, the less I know. Let me unpack that for a second. The more courses and programs that I've taken on how to write the perfect caption and what hook you should say and how long your reel should be and how to use trending audio, what happens is I go to take the action to do the thing, like put the post up, and I freeze. I become paralyzed and overwhelmed because all of a sudden, what organically 12 years ago was me just sharing things on social media, now I'm second guessing, I'm double checking, and I'm going through all the things in my mind. Was there a hook? Was it good enough? Do I have a transition? Is there a call to action? Where am I putting this person? What do I want them to do from that? Right. And we start thinking of all these things that we need to do, and it's exhausting. And so I feel that the more that I've learned over the years, it's like the less that I know, because all of a sudden I freeze and I'm like, I don't even know what to do anymore because there's so much noise. So how do we get into our authentic self? Well, the first thing that I would say I think is great is 2025. Like, this is the trend. This is the trend. People want more real. We've wanted this for a while. We've craved this for a while. But what is working and what is trending now happens to be less curated, more real. No more Pinterest looking stuff. It doesn't need to be perfect. I don't need like a reel with all these transitions. Just get on, show me what you got to say, tell me what you got to do. And I want it to feel really authentic. How do you do that? I think it's a practice. I think it's a practice of self-awareness. I think it's a practice of self-love. I think it's a practice of self-worth. The more that I have worked on myself, the easier it feels for me to show up authentically as who I am and not feel that I have to follow the other trends or what other coaches are saying. And then the other side of this, which kind of wraps back into what I was just saying, is oftentimes we're not burnt out from the action of doing. Now, I say this in the most respectful way because I have dealt with burnout. I have had a rocky relationship with social media over the years. The action of posting, stick with me here, people. The action of posting is not exhausting. Like, let's break down what it is. You pick up your phone, you use your thumbs, and you write something. Maybe you scroll and find a picture and you click a button and it goes up. The action itself is not exhausting. It is not running a marathon. It is not being up with a baby 6 times throughout the night with only 30 minutes of sleep in between each time. It is not exhausting. But what is exhausting and causes us to feel like we're burning out is what we're making the action mean about us. So when we show up and post, when we send an email, when we host a live free thing, and the result is not what we expected or anticipated or wanted, we are then allowing what happened or did not happen to make it mean something about us. And what I mean by that is I'm hosting this free thing and only 26 people showed up. If I make that mean subconsciously, deep down, that I'm not good enough, that I'm not worthy, that I'm not loved, if I make that mean that I'm old news, that nobody cares, that what's the point, then it is going to wear and tear on me and it's going to feel exhausting. So when I put out a post and I don't like the result that I get, maybe it doesn't have enough likes or follows or comments, it didn't do as well as I expected, anticipated, or thought. Subconsciously, I start to create these stories and these beliefs of what's the point? It's not, why am I even trying? I knew it wasn't good enough. He has more followers. She's prettier than I am. And so we allow the result or lack of result to then dictate, one, how we feel, and two, our next action. And compound over time, when we do it over and over and over and over again, guess what starts to happen? We start to feel exhausted, resentful, and burnt out. So how do we show up more authentically? I mean, the only answer is to just do. It's like the only way out is through, right? It's such a shitty answer. You're like, this is seriously what she's saying to me right now. But I think it's just the practice of doing it. And it's the practice of getting into rooms that make you feel comfortable, getting into rooms that really empower you and lift you up, and then showing up and saying, I'm going to do it despite, or in what's the word I want? Despite the result or lack of result. I can't think of the word that I want, but I'm going to do it no matter what, because here's the thing. I'm not actually doing it for the likes or the comments. I'm not doing it for the significance. I'm not even doing it for the sales. And this is where it's tough as a business owner, because you are like, I am doing it for the sales. You just told me businesses exist so that we can make money and help people. But if you can go back to a place of, I'm just doing it because I love creating, I'm doing it because this thing that I'm teaching changed my life. Heck, next week I'm teaching an entire workshop on something I learned 10 years ago, but it changed my life. It really did. It changed the way that I looked at this idea of vision boards and goal setting and manifestation. And I've carried that for 10 years now. And so if I can just come back to a place where it's even this, I'm doing this for free. Do y'all know how much I charge per hour? It's actually insane. Thousands. I charge thousands per hour and people pay me for that. But I do this for free. Why? I freaking love coaching. This is why we started doing these last year, because the team said, Jess, what's your favorite thing to do? And I said, coaching. And they said, well, why don't we do more of it? That doesn't make any sense. So now we do this about once a month. We do free coaching calls because I love coaching. And because when you ask questions, it's good market research. I could turn it into content. And when I give answers, if it's a really good answer, I can take a soundbite and turn it into a podcast. So guess what? Now I'm working smarter, not harder. But I'm just doing it because I love it. I'm not doing it for the sale. I'm not doing it for the significance. And when you can come back to that place in your business, which is difficult, I think more difficult when you actually have had success than when you haven't. It's actually harder sometimes to show up because you set the bar here and the expectation is here that every time I do something, I launch, I post, I get this result. And so it almost feels harder sometimes, right? But when we can come back to, I have a solution to a problem, so it's my responsibility to share it. And at the end of the day, if I don't make a sale, it doesn't matter, because there are always silent followers. There are silent community members who do not speak up. They do not buy, they do not comment, they do not post, they don't share your stuff. You might not even know that they're following you. You don't even know they exist in your world because they've never said anything to you. But when you say that one thing, Lucy, that person today sees it and it changes their entire day. But just because they don't tell you that, buy from you or say thank you, doesn't mean it's not happening. Right?
Thank you so much.
Yeah. I don't know if I answered your question. I haven't done free coaching in a while. I'm very excited to be here if you all can't tell.
It was great. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you for asking. That was a great question. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you loved this episode, I invite you to be a part of our ripple effect and share it with a friend. And please, if you feel called, take 30 seconds to leave a 5-star review, and I'll be forever grateful. Until next time, cheers to your evolution.